about the internet of value at Ripple, we're thinking much bigger than just cross-border payments. It's kind of like Amazon with rare books in the early days, just this market happens to be a $10 trillion market.
We are at a historic turning point.
Said in the past that you are doing for money what email did for communication.
Moving the whole revolution forward. There's trillions of dollars parked around the world.
XRP.
Is there a possibility that Ripple could take over Swift one day?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of Script. Let's get right into today's video. $38 trillion a day from only one entity. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. No hype, no hopium, just facts. In today's video, we are going to break down the difference between XDC and XRP. And let's just say it's been hidden in plain sight this whole time. Let's get right into it with Craig Phillips. He's a board member at Ripple. Let's go read his little biography. Craig Phillips brings over 35 years of private and public sector leadership experience to Ripple, having held senior roles at BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, and Credit Suisse. Most recently, Craig served as a counselor to Secretary of Treasury Steven Mnuchin, where he oversaw domestic finance. In that capacity, he led policy development for regulatory reform of the financial system under Executive Order 13772, representing a dynamic collaboration of the regulation through an agile and properly tailored approach. This is to crypto. And if we go to the Executive Order 13772, as you guys could see, from the U.S. Department of Treasury, a financial system that creates an economic opportunities, non-bank financials, fintech, and innovation, referring to blockchain and the integration with the banks and the private sector and blockchain. And of course, look who was here. We had Ripple and R3, one of the two of high key level companies that are going to have a pivotal role in this transformation. And listen to what Craig Phillips says here about a blockchain technology. If they have 99 things going well and one thing goes wrong, like I always said, Bitcoin will never be used as a means of payment. A risk of a 51% attack can happen, had happened, so it'll never be used. But just hear it from Craig Phillips himself.
So I would have everyone be very mindful as you sort of study the environment. But that's an area where the government's unlikely to be at all compromising, and it's, again, kind of a showstopper where you could have 99 things go great, and if there's one really serious incident involving national security, terrorism, or money laundering, it becomes kind of a showstopper for the evolution. So I'd say that became one of the overarching themes.
He calls it a showstopper. And of course, you guys know we've been covering the IMF, Monetary Authority of Singapore. What are the odds? They're all involved here as well, along with the European Commission, ECB, Christine Lagarde. They're all balls deep in this, okay? And before we get into the R3 and XRP usage, everybody thought that was false, but, well, we got some hardcore evidence along with David Schwartz commenting on it. So let's set the tone with Craig Phillips for a moment and see what the problem is here with the SEC and with what that executive order was about to implement. What you're going to listen to right now is going to be SEC's director, Gurbir Singh, which he also was under investigation for corruption. This was just a couple months ago. But listen to what he says here when he was asked about the whole XRP being a security and what does he do? He goes by the playbook and talks about the Howey test.
All the attorneys counseling crypto issuers look to the Howey test. And Howey, based on a seminal Supreme Court case from 1946 and decades of case law since, defines what or gives us a framework of determining what constitutes an investment contract and therefore a security under the federal securities laws. And that's really the point of Howey. Whether or not something is a security doesn't depend on the label you give it. It doesn't depend.
And finally, the word regulatory sandboxes is sometimes overused, but it's very obvious that if you have a sort of a brand new thing, the existing regulation doesn't fit it. And if there's multiple regulators with an overlapping mandate, it's critical that we find a way for those regulators to inherently allow safe experimentation on new concepts.
It honestly doesn't make sense, right? It honestly doesn't make sense. And now let's get right into the whole R3 and XRP and Ripple. So one individual on the internet asked David Schwartz for 10 things the XRP community needs to learn. And they're just a filled with hate individual in regards to the XRP community. So they put 10 notes, 10 pointers saying Swift does not use XRP, R3 does not use XRP, R3 does not use the XRPL, the XRP ETF was fake, all this nonsense for no reason. So David Schwartz replies and says, to my knowledge, all of these are essentially true. There are some small exceptions such as this one. And he puts a link to the R3 website, Shaping the Future of Regulated Markets. And keep in mind, David is not going to come out here and say, you know what, we did work with Swift, or we are going to use FedNow in the future, but we have some proof of concepts going behind the scenes. Do you really think David is going to come out and say that? Just blows my mind, but let it be. This article that was published, R3 launched a universal settler application to facilitate global payments on CORDA, XRP the first settlement mechanism. Keep in mind, the DTCC, Project Ion, selected R3 this year. DTCC partnered with leading enterprise technology provider R3 to develop and launch the Project Ion platform, leveraging R3's CORDA DLT software. And DTCC, very massive, $38 trillion on a daily basis in regards to settlements. On an annual basis, we're talking about a $462 trillion that was settled in USD value. And now when we hop over to the CORDA settler, as you see, this is on the R3 website. They have the CORDA network with the oracles and the exchange rate oracles and the XRP network all doing a settlement utilizing the XRP token. Okay, now let's take a step back. And now let's go to why everybody says CORDA is using XCC. Because they can't read. This article that was published on CoinDesk, read it very carefully. It was this year. R3 CORDA has a bridge to public blockchains with arrival of Ethereum-based XDC. So now they have the ability to bridge to public blockchains. That is great. Public blockchains are great. But now let me tell you the two differences with the XRP token and the XDC token. Okay, listen to this very carefully. CORDA settle using XRP. CORDA can integrate with the XRP ledger to settle cross-border payments quickly and cost-effectively. XRP's liquidity and fast settlement times make it suitable for international money transfers. Financial institutions can use CORDA with XRP to settle interbank transactions and reduce the time and cost associated with traditional settlement methods. XRP can be used as an intermediary asset for tokenizing real-world assets such as stocks, commodities, or real estate on the CORDA platform, just to name a few. XRP is known for its speed and high liquidity, making it suitable for rapid settlement of financial transactions. XRP operates on a public blockchain, which means transaction data is visible to anyone with access to the ledger. XRP primarily acts as a bridge currency for facilitating cross-border transaction and as a liquidity provider. Okay, now let's jump over to XDC and what the difference is there. CORDA settle using XDC. CORDA can integrate with the XFIN blockchain using XDC for executing enterprise-grade smart contracts across various industries, including supply chain, trade finance, and healthcare. XDC can be used to track and verify the movement of goods and assets within a supply chain, ensuring transparency and efficiency. Now, I'm sure by now you've seen the difference with XRP, XDC, but I'm still going to go on just to cover up this whole XRP and XDC gap in knowledge. XDC can be used to tokenize assets or represent ownership rights in a secure and compliant manner. The difference with XRP and the XRP ledger with XDC and XFIN's blockchain. XFIN blockchain is hybrid, combining elements of both public and private blockchains. it offers more control over data privacy compared to public blockchains. Also, keep in mind with Ripple and the XRP ledger, with all the side chains that are going to be coming out, like we haven't seen anything yet. XFIN's network can be permission in participants, allowing for more restricted access and confidential transactions when needed. XFIN and XCC are designed with emphasis on enterprise use cases and regulatory compliance. In conclusion, the choice between settling with CORDA using XRP or XDC depends on the specific use case and requirements. Use CORDA with XRP for fast, cost-effective cross-border payments, interbank settlement, and tokenization of assets when speed and liquidity are crucial and public ledger transparency is acceptable. Use CORDA and XDC when dealing with enterprise smart contracts, supply chain management, or tokenization in an environment that requires more control over data privacy, permissioning, and compliance with regulatory standards. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate every single one of you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you guys really want to really understand it, I would rewind and listen to it one more time. But there's a huge gap between XRP and XDC. Okay, people really got to wake up and understand that. And I'm going to finish off the video actually with a clip that I saw XRP Man posted, so shout out to you for this one. In terms of a blockchain seminar that was going on, and the panel asked, should we just buy Bitcoin and just wait and sit on it? Just buy Bitcoin and nothing else. Why the NASDAQ? Why anything else? We'll just buy Bitcoin and sit. And listen to what he says here. You got to understand, these individuals know what's coming down the pipeline just like we know it. It's just, we know it because we have a couple brain cells that operate. It's unfortunate that people cannot see what's coming down the pipeline with $1 trillion market cap that's going to be explosive over to 10 trillion on a very conservative basis. But listen to what he says about there are way better other investments if you just go down the rabbit hole. Absolutely crazy.
They are fundamentally different assets with very different valuation models and functions in the market. So it kind of depends where you are on the curve, right? If you've gone down the rabbit hole, if you've begun to really understand the fundamental different nature of these protocols and have done enough research to have a view on which of these have a future and the problems they're going to address, then you can start taking a varied view. If you're an early stage investor looking to make an initial allocation or just get exposure to crypto as an asset class, then Bitcoin's an excellent proxy. I'd argue that there's better ones, but it really depends on your risk appetite and what you're trying to achieve as an investor. So the answer is yes and no, depending on who you are.
We definitely do not think digital assets represent a financial stability risk, but this is an area where we think international involvement is extremely important. And what we're really trying to do on that stage is to set a level playing field of the standard of monitoring financial activities that involve digital assets, trying to sort of monitor the exchange and other features. So in addition to the market making and transparency issues that our market regulators are pursuing, but this is an area where we think international involvement is extremely important. And what we're really trying to do on that stage is to set a level playing field.
How we're going to actually create a financially inclusive world, but to regulate that, to create a level playing field.
And then we're creating a level playing field across all the cryptos.
Used as a sort of universal bridge. And blockchains are what provide that level playing field. So that
the liquidity in digital assets could be applied to actually make that much more democratized. A level playing field.
The bank is leveling the playing field between old and new.
Most efficient, fair, and global way as possible, and that implies clearly a level playing field.
Been losing hundreds of billions of dollars with the European Union, and we just want it to be a level playing field.
Making U.S. companies competitive. We need to create a level playing field.
Exactly the issue we need to address with what you call level playing field.
Whatever we do, we create a level playing field.
But there also has to be a level playing field.
We started building RippleNet with the thesis that crypto liquidity would eventually be able to support robust global payments, large payments. RippleNet was designed so that customers seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip the switch to ODL once the market was mature enough. And And this is exactly what's happening.
Flip the switch.
I think what we're building has, it's solving a real problem. And I think all of the tokens, my advice to anybody would be, understand the utility. If there's real utility and there's real value being delivered to a real customer, there will be value in the token.